necessary. Although there is great work done in detailing Ukrainian fortifications, most of the observed positions are constructed in the open and will never be occupied by units. They are easily targeted and destroyed. Ukraine lacks infantry to man most of them in the first place. He says, and I got to get through all of this to add some context here because each paragraph I think is as meaningful or more than the last. He says, this is not a war of trenches. It's a war of individual fighting positions, fortified and well-masked units in tree lines, buildings, basements, or in dense forests. Occupying fortifications in the open is usually considered suicidal by troops. Since pervasive ISR and fires impose a degree of fire control over forward positions, it is not possible to move large numbers of troops forward, sustain, or rotate them. Now some are on the line for 90-plus days, and it often takes several days to reach a position on foot. So there's a lot to unpack there, but I think the most important aspect that he's driving home is, although this has been a relatively positional war, an attritional-focused war, and it's so easy to draw comparisons to World War I because that's largely what we saw in that conflict. And the minute Russians and Ukrainians started digging into the ground, it was, hey, there we go, trench warfare. Now we have something to compare it to. But he makes the point that there are not continuous trenches running all along the front. That's not what's being defended. Again, the scenes out of 1917 or All Quiet on the Western Front where you see regiments, battalions, divisions getting up out of their trench line at the same time and charging across open terrain does not exist in this war. And we'll get into that with some of the Russian attack tactics here in a moment, but it's largely these small outposts. He says they're not observation posts, you don't really need them when you have drones overhead, but essentially you don't want to call them a last line of defense, but actually some personnel there that can inflict direct fire or conduct direct fire engagements as needed if the Russian forces enter that sector. But at the same time, they have to remain hidden because as soon as they're exposed or it's clear that that's where a Ukrainian defensive position is, they're going to be hammered by Russian air power and drones. One other aspect here, talking about how there's a lot more positions right now than are going to be manned. There's a couple different reasons for that. One, yes, he hits on it, is the manpower shortage, or they just don't have enough people to fully man every one of these positions, but also that some of these fortifications in the open are just, as he says, suicidal. So you have to think that some of these positions further and further back from the front have been, when were they built? You know, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Tactics were very, very different at that point. So in a lot of cases, when you see an open trench line dug or fighting positions dug through an open field, that might have worked in 2022, maybe even parts of 2023 if there was enough cover from Russian artillery. It won't work today. So those positions are still there. They're just not likely to be used as Ukraine continues to shift around the battlefield. Now, turning to some of the Russian attack tactics that we're seeing here, he says Russian attacks are sometimes in 4 to 6 man groups, but in many cases have decreased to numerous 2 to 3 man sections trying to penetrate in between Ukrainian positions. Russian infantry seek to advance as far as possible past Ukraine's initial line and entrench there. Although many may be lost, some get through and entrench awaiting reinforcements. Much the same can be said of motorcycle and buggy assaults, trying to bypass initial lines and enter the rear. Most fail, but not all, leading to small tactical advances. And that is the nature of what we've seen when you're looking at maps and trying to get an idea of how the battlefield is changing day to day, even week to week. That's what we're seeing. Small little advances here or there. I think it was last week we played a video of Russian forces raising a flag in an area in the southern portion of the country. Let me see if I can recall where that was. I think it was to the southwest of Pokrovsk. Somewhere in here, I believe. No, further southwest, excuse me. I think it was down in this area here. Nonetheless, there was Dashny. I want to say it was in Dashny. And the video was, I think, 4 total Russian soldiers moving through, and it looked like they were trying to clear some trenches, but there was nobody in those trenches. Again, not every trench line is manned by Ukrainian soldiers, and they cleared some of that area out, and next thing you know, they're waving a flag, and we were talking about it. Like, does that mean they've secured the area when there's 3 or 4 Russians with a flag in a village? It's not the same image of, again, go back to World War II, and you see armored divisions rolling through towns, and you say, well, now that one is secured. That town is liberated. Does it hold up when it's 2 or 3 guys that found a little bit of a gap in the line, ran through, held up a flag? Do they now control it? And that's part of the reason we are seeing multiple areas along the front regularly contested, where you see one map says that Russia advanced, another map says no, they didn't, and then you have to wait days or even weeks to get a clear understanding of what actually happened. Kaufman continues talking about mechanized assaults. He says these are seen now much less frequently, in part because Russian forces are trying to conserve equipment, but also because Ukraine has long optimized for defeating traditional mechanized attacks, which invariably fail with high vehicle losses. And just a couple days ago, I think I saw my first video in a long time of multiple Russian armored vehicles attempting an assault at the same time, and that video showed them all getting blown up. So we're just not seeing a lot of that as of late. Not often dismounted infantry, but a lot of the buggy assaults, or even kind of turtle tanks, onesies and twosies, kind of flying towards the front. Shifting over to the drone war here and the back and forth on that front, he says Ukraine's unmanned systems forces are now led by Robert Brovdy, head of MIDAR, and is launching plans that will better integrate and systemize drone employment. These hold promise as Ukrainian drone employment needs to evolve and stay ahead. One area where Ukraine remains clearly ahead of Russian forces is UGV employment, unmanned ground vehicles, for logistics and medevac. This is more about establishing capable mesh networks to enable UGVs use across terrain, and the cost of the communications can easily equal that of the platform. And I think it was last month or the month prior, we did some fundraising and actually picked up some UGVs for a couple different Ukrainian units. And that's what they were talking about, is using them for logistical and medevac purposes. We're seeing this a little bit with Russia, and something to keep in mind with the back and forth in this drone war is, generally speaking, neither side is ever too far in front or behind the other. So we are seeing UGVs starting to be utilized by Russia. A lot of the Russian videos at this point still shows them trying to incorporate direct fire mechanisms, machine guns and the like on the drones. A little bit of that coming out of Ukraine at this point. Just in the last couple weeks, I've started to see more Russian units utilize these for logistics purposes. I have not yet seen Russian UGVs used for medevac. That does seem to be a bit of a priority on the Ukrainian side. Maybe I haven't seen those videos, but nonetheless, as it sits today, UGV usage, which is generally non-lethal, is probably the best way to put it, is the lead right now is certainly with Ukraine. They say, however, Ukraine is also seeking to close the gap in strike munitions that cover the 30 to 100 kilometer range and strike systems for operational depths of 300 plus kilometers that are much more effective than cheap light drones, as well as ground-launched cruise missiles and short-range ballistic missiles. We've seen a little bit of that in recent months where Ukraine is able to carry out deep strikes inside of Russia. One of the challenges there, originally I think everybody would have thought the challenge was getting through Russian air defense. Clearly, Ukraine has found a way to do that and penetrate into 300, 400, 500 kilometers deep inside of Russian territory. One of the challenges we're seeing, there was a strike on a factory just last week where, yes, the drone got through, yes, the drone hit the factory, but it was a relatively small payload, and the factory probably was operational later that same day. So it's kind of a combination of being able to evade Russian air defenses with at range, but also with a payload capable of employing or enacting significant damage on the Russian targets. That's still in the works in a lot of ways. On the Russian side of the drone tactics, he says the Russian military began deploying its own offensive line of drones and improving how it employs drone units. Russian Rubicon drone units have spread to every Russian grouping of troops and are the most spoken of challenge across the front. Rubicon formations focus on severing logistics with fiber optic drones, operating 20 to 25 kilometers behind the front line, destroying drone positions and intercepting Ukrainian drones, the winged ISR and heavy quadcopters or Baba Yaga vampire-style drones. He says, in general, Russian drone units have become better organized. This does not mean that Ukraine has lost its edge in drone employment, but the advantage has narrowed. Russian forces continue to adapt, and Ukraine must find ways to stay ahead. And something worth keeping in mind here is that you really are talking about Ukraine on the defense with Russia on the offense, and drones are going to be used in different capacities. So a lot of the Ukrainian hunting to be blunt, is using these drones in a defensive capacity, waiting for Russian forces to poke their head above ground and then get absolutely hammered by multiple drone units. It's a little bit different on the Russian side, where they're trying to advance. So they're using a lot of these fiber optic drones, and we're seeing this down around Pokrovsk, where instead of just, and they're, not to downplay the use of FPVs and bombers at the front, because those are constant all day, every day, but there's a lot more kind of tactically going after logistics routes to cut off and encircle Ukrainian forces. So we're seeing a bit of a different use between the two sides. On that note, we are starting to see more and more, this was not in the Kaufman assessment, but something I wanted to bring up, more and more use of, or the tactic of kind of ambushing vehicles. So I've got a clip here that just came out earlier today showing Russian drones ambushing Ukrainian vehicles. So what they're doing is they're setting down on a road. It saves some battery, but more importantly, it makes the drones harder to detect as the vehicles are driving by. Again, think about in one of these vehicles, you got to be looking for threats in a lot of different directions. They very well are likely looking for landmines on the road, but drones overhead, right? You're looking in the sky all around for drones and listening for drones. When a drone is on the road or set just off the side, like we're seeing in this video, it can wait for a vehicle to pass by, pop up, and carry out a strike. This is becoming more and more common. We're seeing a lot of these ambush-style attacks take place in both directions. The last section here from Kaufman is talking about Russian long-range fires, where he says there's been an exponential increase in Russian drone and missile strikes against Ukrainian infrastructure. However, Ukraine is rapidly scaling up the use of drone-based interceptors paired with light radars. It will take time to expand production, upgrade mobile air defense, and build out a defensive line of air defense units, but the technical solution to the Shahed-Garan imitator drone saturation problem exists and is a matter of resourcing its deployment. Who knows? It's a big gap to fill, and we've talked about this regularly, where you have the high-end air defense systems that are expensive and very capable, and there's not a lot of them. Think Patriot. You technically could use those against Shaheds, but you don't want to do it for very long because you're going to run out of those interceptors. Better used against aircraft and missiles. Then on the other end, you've got very cheap systems, surface-to-air fire, right? 50 cal machine guns, or even lighter, shooting down some of these drones. Very, very inexpensive, but not all that effective, and can be difficult to accomplish the task at times. That middle ground of finding interceptors that are cheap, numerable, and effective has been a major challenge in this war. If Ukraine actually has that solution right now, maybe this is an area that the United States or even Europe could help step into. And there's a lot of production facilities outside of Ukraine that maybe we could assist them in resourcing its development and production. Now, that's the end of the Kaufman piece. Again, linked in the description below, worth reading start to finish. I pulled out what I thought were the interesting tidbits, but I did want to highlight an article in Naval News put together by H.I. Sutton a couple days ago, giving the first background, I think, of the Ukrainian Magura drones. These are the unmanned surface vessels. It says a major Ukrainian USV gaining household recognition is the Magura V5. This tiny craft, barely 18 feet long, has been responsible for sinking several Russian warships, but the V5 did not appear until 2023. Before that, there were 4 earlier designs. And one interesting piece here is the V doesn't stand for version, although it does kind of work out that way. It's because of the V-shaped hull. Happy coincidence, I guess. So it says that in summer of 2022, a Ukrainian team was tasked with, quote, do something with the Russian fleet. And all they really had to start with was a fishing boat, but soon they figured out that they had access to Starlink, could add the Starlink on board. And this was kind of a game changer because it moved what, unmanned surface vessels, drone boats, explosive boats have been a thing. We've seen the Houthis utilize them, the Iranians utilize them, but generally there's a restriction there based off of short-range communications or the ability for enemy to intercept those communications. Starlink meant that they could employ these devices at significant range, manned by a human operator safely, hundreds of kilometers away or more. So the Magura V1, which also version 1, ended up being about 19 feet long. Instead, it was cut down to have an incredibly low profile. They did run through some of the testing here and quickly came out with the V2. And the V2, it looks like, ended up being, again, a little deeper hull, jet ski propulsion, and an onboard motor. Made it even a little more stealthier, harder to identify. In 2022, October of 22, The Magura V3 raced into Sevastopol Harbor in Crimea. The Russian naval base was heavily defended, but the USVs got through, hitting several warships and penetrating deep inside the harbor. Now, not all of the Russian ships that were hit were sunk. Not everything went as planned, but this was kind of the point, October 2022, where Ukraine and the rest of the world was like, oh, that is a formidable weapon system. Now, the main variant right now, known as the V5, followed the experimental V4, and really what that did was it added more fuel and a larger warhead. So right now, it sounds like the people responsible for this say these Magura drones have destroyed at least 17 naval targets and damaged at least 3 more. These are incredibly effective and cost-effective for what it's worth. But the V5 is, while maybe the most well-known version right now, it's not the newest, or it's not the end of innovation, if you will. So the V5 was followed by the larger W6, just to add some confusion, which stands for whaler hull. Like Boston whaling ships kind of thing. So it's a wider platform, which was used to then start placing things like multiple launch rockets.
Select a character. Great Forest. Barbarian. Roll 4. 7. One. 10. Choose a hero. You are the greedy kind, aren't you? Your greed will be your own undoing. Prince, test your perception. 4. Elder Triad. Select a character. Choose a hero. Select a character. One. Undead Ruins.
See you at the microphone. Hello. Ah, I go get my food. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see it and drunk and everything. Okay, yeah, my food can take a few more minutes. In the oven.
Dwarf King, test your perception. 6. Select a character. Wandering monster. Lancer, roll a 4. Two. Prince, test your 8. Dwarf King, test your 4. These provisions seem questionable at best.
Rocket systems or air defense systems on top of these USVs. The W6 made way for the even larger V7. The V7 is the one that famously a couple months ago shot down a Russian flanker with a Sidewinder missile. So now, in terms of publicly available information, we're at the V7, but the V7 being used to intercept aircraft, W6 being used to engage ground targets and some aircraft, and then V5 right now, it sounds like, is still the kind of base model, loaded full of explosives, drive it into the side of a Russian ship and detonate. But from what I can tell, a lot of that is pretty newly public information just reported by H.I. Sutton over at Naval News. I'll link his article as well as that full thread by Michael Kaufman in the description below if you want to see them in their entirety. But that's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Ukrainian drone units are hunting Russian soldiers. I mean, they're literally lying in wait, giving them a couple days off at a time to lure them into a sense of safety, and then as soon as their guard is down, attacking with lethal force. Now, most of the attention over the course of the last couple years has been on the technological innovations in drone warfare. Understandably so, because there's been a lot of major jumps in that category. But it is just as, if not more important, to look at the tactics of how these drones are being utilized on the battlefield. And that's what we're going to do today. Also, it looks like an American that fled the United States because we were too woke, just got sent to the front lines in Russia and may have been killed. Wild story there. We'll get to that in the second half of today's video. Starting out with these drone tactics, I'm pulling this from a series of posts by Grandpa Roy over on X. He compiled these from a series of Russian mill bloggers. All of those sources will be linked in the description below. But according to Russian mill blogger Mad Dogs, talking about the FPV threat, he says the enemy, the Ukrainians, have become craftier. They no longer fire indiscriminately, but operate with pauses, like experienced hunters. They fire, then lie low. They take breaks of 2 to 6 days, and this is not by chance, but a tactic. During this period, soldiers in their positions relax. Someone goes to the latrine without a helmet. Someone doesn't bend down on the road. Someone stands up to smoke at full height. Yes? President Trump has ordered 2 nuclear submarines before we're deployed in response to the Russian threats of nuclear war. So, yeah, that escalated pretty quickly. Let's get into what we know and a little bit of background as to how we got here. Now, the post from President Trump just a few hours ago was, quote, based on the highly provocative statements of the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, I have ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions, just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. Words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those instances. And the classic Trump sign-off that we've seen recently, thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, a quick note here. President Trump was pretty vague, actually, in that statement. He could be referring to nuclear-powered submarines, as in nuclear is the source of their energy, or nuclear-armed submarines, like submarines that can fire nuclear weapons. Given that the recent threats from Russia were hinting at nuclear war, my guess would be the latter. But either way, that technically is still up in the air, and the U.S. is pretty tight-lipped about any details, as you could imagine. Now, the reason this all kind of spiraled in recent days is President Trump, a couple weeks ago, gave Vladimir Putin 50 days to come to the negotiating table and said, we're going to find a way to get a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine and end this war. He clearly has been frustrated with Vladimir Putin recently, and just a few days ago voiced those frustrations, saying, I've had enough. We're going to shorten that timeline because I already know the answer. Here's that clip.
Very well, but 5 times, and every time 4 times maybe, but we've had discussions, you and I have had discussions. Yeah. We thought we had that settled numerous times. And then President Putin goes out and starts launching rockets into some city like Kiev and kills a lot of people in a nursing home or whatever. You have bodies lying all over the street. And I say, that's not the way to do it. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed in President Putin. Very disappointed in him. So we're going to have to look, and I'm going to reduce that 50 days that I gave him to a lesser number because I think I already know the answer what's going to happen. Okay? Thank you very much.
Now, in response to this, Dmitry Medvedev, former president of Russia, put out a statement, and we saw this public bickering back and forth where he said, quote, Trump's playing the ultimatum game with Russia, 50 days or 10. He should remember 2 things. 1, Russia isn't Israel or even Iran. 2, each new ultimatum is a threat and a step towards war, not between Russia and Ukraine, but with his own country. Don't go down the Sleepy Joe road. So the first kind of shot across the bow there is Trump is talking about we might levy some sanctions, some tariffs on Russia's partners to get Russia to the negotiating table, to get them to stop their war, or at least just a ceasefire. Keep that in mind. We're not even talking about a final settlement to this conflict. Trump is, at this point, just trying to get Russia to stop firing drones and missiles for a period of time so everybody can talk. That is what was so frustrating to Russia that Dmitry Medvedev said, You go down this road, there might be war between Russia and the United States. Now, joking aside, I think there is a real chance that the thing above all that really pissed off President Trump here was the statement, "Don't go down the Sleepy Joe road." That Medvedev is kind of using Trump's language against him. The comparison with Joe Biden probably is not something that Trump really latched onto there. But either way, President Trump responded, calling Medvedev a failed former president of Russia, and there's this weird kind of public back and forth. And Medvedev then upped the ante, saying, quote, "Let him remember his favorite movies about the Walking Dead, and also how dangerous a dead hand that does not exist in nature can be." And what he's getting at there is this kind of insinuation or kind of saying without saying that nuclear war would be destructive to the United States. So the dead hand concept is the idea that even if a country's leadership and most of their nuclear capabilities are eliminated in a first strike, there would still be the capability, a dead hand switch sort of thing, to launch a nuclear retaliation. It's one of the concepts of mutually assured destruction. Because you can imagine one idea there would be if the United States and the Soviet Union, now Russia, both have enough nuclear weapons to wipe each other off the map, what if that means the first strike, if we carry one out, we have to eliminate their capability of carrying that out, right? And if we do that, maybe then there's no retaliation. The dead hand concept is that essentially you're not going to be able to do that. That's an impossible task is kind of what they're getting at. Medvedev straight up threatening nuclear war with the United States again over the frustration that President Trump is simply trying to get Ukraine and Russia to the negotiating table. That is a bridge too far for Putin and Medvedev right now. Now, we're not seeing a lot from Russian media in terms of a response right now. TASS, the top of their website, like number one article on their webpage, and this is Russian media, said, quote, "Trump orders relocation of 2 U.S. submarines allegedly because of Medvedev's words." I mean, I don't know that I would say allegedly, because in Trump's statement, he explicitly said because of the words of Medvedev. So we really got to read between the lines on that one. Now, surprisingly, TASS said the Pentagon has not yet responded to their requests to clarify where the submarines were sent. They might be waiting for a little while before the U.S. or the Pentagon sends to Russia the exact location of, or the location at all, of our submarines. But nonetheless, points for asking, right? But it wasn't just this statement that riled up a lot of Russians today. We saw another post by President Trump talking about the casualty figures so far in this war, and it's something that he's been highlighting for a long time, is he wants the killing to stop, he wants the war to end because the number of deaths just continue to increase. And he put out a statement saying, quote, "I've just been informed that almost 20,000 Russian soldiers died this month in the ridiculous war in Ukraine. Russia has lost 112,500 soldiers since the beginning of the year. That is a lot of unnecessary death. Ukraine, however, has also suffered greatly. They have lost approximately 8,000 soldiers since January 1st, 2025, and that number does not include their missing. Ukraine has also lost civilians, but in smaller numbers, as Russian rockets crash into Kyiv and other Ukrainian locales. This is a war that should have never happened. This is Biden's war, not Trump's. I'm just here to see if I can stop it." Now, a lot of the argumentation here in the commentary is around those numbers, and you're going to see a lot of folks kind of pick them apart and what is accurate and what is not. And we've got a Russian response here where they're just livid that Trump would even suggest that many Russians have so far been killed in this war. The bigger piece to me here is not the numbers, because both Russia and Ukraine are doing their best to not make those easily publicly available, because it's a sensitive issue for each side to understand the strength and the capable manpower each military has. But the tone of this has shifted dramatically from blaming Ukraine. For a long time at the beginning of the presidency, we saw a comparison. It was 1-to-1. Both sides are at fault. Both sides have done a lot of things wrong. There was a stretch in there where President Trump even kind of underhanded blamed Ukraine for dealing with this war. If you remember saying Zelensky never should have gotten into this war, never should, that kind of talk. This is the total other direction, where he's talking about Russian casualties, and then he says Ukraine, however, has also suffered. He talks about the Ukrainian civilians, just the tone of this, the Ukrainian civilians that have been killed by Russia, clearly upset with Putin. Now, in terms of the skewed numbers there, 20,000 in a month, and 112,000 since the war began, compared with 8,000 for Ukraine. I'm not entirely sure. You'll notice in most videos I rarely ever cite casualty figures. They're just very, very hard to come by. I would expect at this phase in the war to see more Russian casualties than Ukrainian, and it's not close. The reason for that is in multiple areas of the front, Ukraine is on the defensive, just about everywhere, and Russia is on the offensive. Day in and day out, we are seeing, like in Pokrovsk right now, it's like 100 plus attempts to infiltrate the lines. So these are infantry, dismounted often, sometimes mounted on unarmored vehicles, trying to assault Ukrainian positions. What do you think happens in that situation? A lot of them get killed. And a lot of times they're killed with Ukrainian drones. So it's not even like a firefight where sometimes the Ukrainians might suffer casualties. It's the vast majority of the exposed troops right now are Russians moving across the front. That's been the case for months on end. So it would be expected at this point that Russia is suffering higher casualties day to day than Ukraine. It's just the nature of the fight. Now, the Russians not super happy about this. One Mill blogger, Alexander Kotz, said, quote, Trump once again pulled numbers out of thin air. One wonders, and he gets into some weird lingo here, but he says, where does the president get these casualty statistics from? Could it be from Bankova, which is like the main capital street in Kyiv? So he's saying like from the Ukrainian government. Everything is fine there. The armed forces of Ukraine have already recaptured Mariupol, and the advanced units of Azov have reached the outskirts of Voronezh. The last surviving Russian men of conscription age disguised as horses are fleeing to Mongolia. Eternal winter reigns on the streets and hungry bears roam. So, a little bit of hyperbole there from Kotz. A little upset about these figures. Don't usually see Russia get this upset when casualty figures are thrown out there. Just a few weeks ago, Secretary of like everything, but primarily Secretary of State Marco Rubio threw out a pretty high number for Russian casualties, and nobody really said anything about it. But this time, they are livid with the Trump assessment. And for what it's worth, Rubio's statement a couple weeks ago is pretty much in line with these same numbers. It wasn't drastically all that different. Kotz continues by saying, and yet every morning, the president is presented with reports by people who believe all this nonsense. For reference, over the summer, we handed over 9,000 bodies of fallen Ukrainians to the Ukrainian side. They returned fewer than 200 of ours. That is all you need to know about the ratio of losses. I wanted to address this piece because, again, there's some of this you just have to pick. There's a lot that we don't know, and it's worth acknowledging that right out the gate. We plain don't know what we don't know. But this is one of those metrics that does not accurately portray the overall casualties in a conflict, the number of returned bodies. And the reason for that is what we've seen over the last, for quite a while now, a couple of years, I would say, with the exception of a few small areas, is Russia on the advance and Ukrainian forces being pushed back. So if you think about that battlefield where Russia is moving forward and Ukraine is moving back, what deceased soldiers are likely to change hands? The Ukrainians in the position that are eventually overrun, right? There's going to be very few situations where Russian soldiers break through Ukrainian lines somewhere, are killed, and Ukrainians then have the ability to secure those bodies and move them to the rear for some later transfer. Most of the Russians that Ukraine is killing are on the Russian side of the line, so Ukraine's not going to recover them, right? A lot of the Ukrainians that are killed, eventually over time, you see the Russians move past their positions and they recover those bodies. So the ratio there is not indicative really of anything other than the Russia continues to advance in multiple areas of the front. That's a clear takeaway. Now, in line with all of that and the casualty talk, Russian President Vladimir Putin had a talk earlier today, public, kind of a strange, like on a bench, talking with Belarus President Lukashenko, where Putin said, quote, there have been no unnecessary losses among Russian soldiers. Look, there's a gap here. Like, we don't need to go with the 1 million plus fatalities that people have rattled off at times, but I don't know that I would go quite so far to say that there have been no unnecessary Russian losses at this point. That's a pretty bold statement. He says Russia is not capturing territories, but returning what is its own. That kind of gives you an idea of how Russia continues to view this war. He says enemies used to talk about the need to inflict a strategic defeat on the Russian Federation, but now their goal is just to stop the offensive. And we talked yesterday in a video about a new article in the Atlantic Council titled Trump Offered Putin Victory in Ukraine. Why did Putin refuse? And it goes over some early aspects of kind of the Trump policy towards Russia and Ukraine, where we were talking about like international recognition, or at least U.S. recognition of Crimea, and it was a very friendly deal for the Kremlin. And the article gets into, and I'll link it below, why on earth did Putin decline this? This seemed like it was all skewed in his favor. And I think his comments today with Lukashenko just highlight that. It's that he feels that they still have the upper hand, so much of the upper hand that they have the ability to win this war if they just keep going. It's not a minor advantage, it's a major advantage. He thinks that all of those territories are rightfully theirs, so they're not going to stop. Stopping anywhere short of at least the 4 oblasts in the east that they've claimed ownership of that they do not yet control, stopping anywhere short of that would be a failure. So again, I think Putin's statements today line up very, very closely with that article we talked about yesterday. So it's worth checking that out if you haven't already. And then last piece here I wanted to go over, Igor Girkin, always just doom poster in Russia. He actually thinks what we're seeing right now is the stage being set for a Ukrainian offensive in the next couple days. I'm not so sure. That doesn't seem super likely, but it is circulating on some Russian channels. So let's dive into it here. He says, Trump is now inspired by his very great success in Europe. Europe has yielded on all parameters. This is Trump's colossal success, and one could say that it would be strange if he did not try to use it in another theater of military operations or in the diplomatic arena. The time has come to force Russia into obedience. At least that's what he thinks. Sometimes these theories, especially from Gherkin, it reads like a conspiracy theory, where I'm tracking like 90% of the way. I'm like, okay, yeah, 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, and then eventually we get somewhere and it's like 5 + 5 = 74, and you lose me, and I'm not sure I can make that last connection. So far, so good. He says Ukraine is preparing for a counterattack, a counteroffensive. They traditionally begin their counteroffensives in August or September. Apparently the deadlines are running out, and in order not to disrupt, as they say, the truce on its part, Ukraine could well agree with America to shorten the ultimatum. And then we can expect the offensive of Ukrainian troops and active actions on the front after August 6th or 7th. So what he's getting at there is Ukraine is in this period of time right now where they're actively not pushing forward because they want to be able to show President Trump that they are very in favor of some sort of negotiated settlement. And offensive operations right now would, be a poke in President Trump's eye. I'm not convinced that that's why Ukraine is not on the offensive. Personally, we've talked about this in quite a few recent videos. It seems like the most effective means for Ukraine to carry out this war right now at the lowest cost across the board in terms of manpower and equipment to Ukraine, and the highest cost to Russia is the defensive posture they're currently in. I'm not entirely sure they're lined up well for offensive operations, but nonetheless, Gherkin says this is despite the fact that Ukraine continues to carry out air, UAV, and missile strikes regularly, but is clearly holding back significant forces, which it plans to use apparently on a massive scale. The enemy has never yet used its 80 F-16s with long-range precision missiles to their full extent. A simultaneous strike by such an armada is capable of inflicting very serious losses on our troops and our facilities. So far, it has not happened. I think that's a little bit of a misread on the capabilities of these weapon systems. The F-16s have been used. They've been used extensively in counter-drone operations, so shooting down Shaheds and maybe even some missiles that are being fired at targets in Ukraine. The F-16s are there, no doubt, as are a number of aircraft. I think this is very similar to when Abrams tanks were showing up in Ukraine, and the assumption was, well, Abrams will be used to break through the Russian lines and carry out some massive attack. Maybe, but that's also not necessarily the type of war that is being fought right now. It would be unusual for aircraft on either side to breach the front lines and move into enemy airspace, or honestly, at this point, even get fixed-wing aircraft all that close to the front line. So yes, Ukraine has a lot of F-16s that have not really been used. There's been some use, but not really been used in an offensive capacity. I don't think that necessarily translates to they're getting ready for some large-scale raid into Russian territory or Russian-occupied territory. He says Ukraine is still building up its forces. Trump adjusted the timing of the ultimatum for this. Russia will still be blamed. We need to prepare for a long, difficult war against NATO, for Crimean War II, which NATO countries will sooner or later get involved in. If not as coalition forces, then at least individual countries will definitely participate in it. We are starting to see more and more of that language on Russian channels where they're just saying, hey, it's inevitable. NATO, the United States, at the very least, one-off countries from within the alliance are going to join. And there's quite a few historical examples here. It makes me kind of nervous. Anytime one country says, well, we're going to get attacked by them at some point, it sets the stage for we may as well get it over with now, or we may as well do it on our terms. And you can find examples from World War I, World War II, and countless other conflicts where that's been the case. That's a little nerve-wracking because if you write that second part off as a definitive, it is definitely going to happen, then it justifies any number of offensive, aggressive operations in the meantime. Preemptive type strikes. Little nerve-wracking anytime Russia starts rattling off that this is a done deal. We may as well just get this thing started. But nonetheless, that's kind of where some of the conversation is today. But that's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.
Hey, Kev, check out this one.
Wow, really cool, man. Huh?
Oh, this one's neat too. Huh? Kev?
You up? Good. Me babes prefer their meat wriggling and screaming.
Oh, fish sticks.
You scrawny little thing, but me make do. Don't worry, man. Just a few days of suffering before them done with ya. Me sweet little picnic excited for your meal. Oh, me love you too, children.
Get your fish-ass hands off my friend.
You pay for that, you eh? Wagwan, barbarian. Look upon all that sweet meat. You're gonna make a most excellent meal for me, young. How dare you mash up my beautiful melody with that wretched noise? Help me. Fine then, if me singing now work, let me just tear you up instead. What the clat? Eh?
Fish sticks for dinner, Kev?
Sounds yummy.
No, please. Leave me like ones be.
Then let us go and stop your evil ways.
All right then, me going free you from this mortal realm. Wretched little brat. Huh? Them little shits. Where they go? Eh? You're done for now. What? Wait, the hell is that? Please, not the reefs of agony! No, not the whirlpools of madness! Wait now, me beg ya, anything but dare! No, man! No!
Oh, look at this one, Kev.
Ugh, fudging sick, dude.
Ocean friends, bombarding paladin, basking on the sand, bound to shell most grand. Ocean friends, their journey led them to the open sea on a boy's trip. Ocean friends, the quest of two pals who are friends till the end. Then appeared an evil siren. Ocean friends, well, she tried to lure 'em with her charming tune, but that was her doom. Ocean friends, their chaotic but justice was cast forth to a fish most foul. Ocean friends, the bond of two pals who are friends till the end.
Freunde, was geht ab und herzlich willkommen zum neuen Video. Es gibt wieder Neuigkeiten im Thema Seven in the Wilds, weil wir jetzt sehr wahrscheinlich die Location gefunden haben, wo Staffel 5 vor wenigen Wochen abgedreht wurde. Ich hatte nämlich letztens im Livestream nochmal ein bisschen an der kolumbianischen Grenze rumgeschaut und diesen Fluss für am wahrscheinlichsten gehalten. Gestern Abend hat eine Person, und zwar Andi, ein Video genau über dieses Gebiet gemacht, weil er etwas sehr Interessantes gefunden hat durch das Bild mit der Spinne aus dem Interview von André. Bleibt also bis zum Ende dran und wer mich auf dem Weg zu den 100.000 Abonnenten unterstützen will, gerne mal ein kostenloses Abo dalassen. Wie gesagt, hatte ich das Thema mit diesem Fluss in den letzten Tagen schon auf meinem Zweitkanal erwähnt, dass sich dieses Gebiet mit den Gegebenheiten dort sehr gut eignen würde. Andi hat aber gestern wirklich ein sehr, sehr starkes Video dazu gemacht, wo er am Ende auch vermutlich das Basecamp von der Location gefunden hat.
Oder wurde vielleicht doch was geleakt, ohne dass es beabsichtigt war? Denn einige Aussagen sind für mich dann doch sehr interessant gewesen und auch Anlass dieses Videos. Dabei am Rande das Statement von David Leichtle, was er nach dem Dreh der Staffel abgegeben hat im Rahmen seines Videos. Schon etwas mehr mit Informationen gespickt, wie ich finde, das Q&A, was Joe Vogel, spoilerfrei, wie er sagte, abgehalten hat. Da waren auch ein, zwei interessante Informationen drin. Aber Hauptquelle für das heutige Video und auch Anlass für meine Spekulationen ist das Interview vom Produzenten der Show, André Schubert von Television.
Wir wissen also, dass der Spot weit weg ist vom eigentlich erst vermuteten Naturreservat und dass er tief im Wald vom Amazonas liegt. Und wenn wir jetzt mal nicht von diesen Inseln ausgehen, dann bleibt zumindest im kolumbianischen Staatsgebiet fast gar nichts mehr übrig, was sinnvoll wäre außer dieser Fluss. Andi sagt aber auch, dass für die Einheimischen dort die Ländergrenze keine große Rolle spielt.
Bevor wir aber, wie gerade angekündigt, zum Interview von André Schubert kommen, müssen wir noch ein bisschen Vorarbeit leisten, damit ja, meine These, wie sie euch präsentieren will, vielleicht ein bisschen deutlicher wird. Und beginnen wir da mit dem Produktionsstandort Letizia selber. Letizia liegt im Dreiländereck von Kolumbien, Brasilien und Peru. Und hier noch ganz wichtig gesagt, für die Produktion und einen möglichen Standort für die 5. Staffel, denke ich, kann man die Ländergrenzen jetzt hier überhaupt nicht scharf sehen, denn alle Berichte, die ich mir in der letzten Zeit so angeguckt habe, von Reisen etc., zeigen, dass da zwar eine Ländergrenze ist, aber dass die im Alltagsleben unten in Letizia für die Leute keine Bedeutung hat. Das sprich, die Produktion ist nicht rein auf Kolumbien beschränkt, sondern könnte sich auch Gebiete auf brasilianischem oder peruanischem Staatsgebiet erstrecken. Das erstmal prinzipiell als Möglichkeit, wo könnte denn der Spot sein. Allerdings möchte ich hier auch direkt schon eher, ja, sag ich mal, das Gebiet rund um Letizia ausklammern, weil Letizia neben Holzwirtschaft und Fischfang seit einigen Jahren vor allem stark in Tourismus investiert hat, beziehungsweise Tourismusindustrie aufgebaut hat. Und wenn man sich mit Letizia beschäftigt, dann kommt man auf diverse Touren, die angeboten werden, vor Ort etc. pp. Sprich alles, was auch in erreichbarer Nähe rund um Letizia ist. Da ja, ist hochwahrscheinlich damit zu rechnen, dass da auch irgendwelche geführten Touren unterwegs sind. Und das wäre natürlich, sage ich mal, ein bisschen kontraproduktiv für eine Produktion wie Seven vs. Wild, die natürlich einen Wert drauf legt, ja, dass sie in der Wildnis ist, ungestört in der Isolation von der Zivilisation. Und da wäre es halt ein bisschen kontraproduktiv, wenn man jederzeit damit rechnen muss, dass da irgendwelche geführten Touristentouren gerade einfach vorbeikommen. Deswegen klammer ich mal das Gebiet rund um Letizia eher aus, auch wenn es potenziell möglich ist. Der Amazonas ist riesig, das ist nicht vergleichbar mit unserem schönen deutschen Wald hier. Im Endeffekt, man könnte irgendwo da unten in der Ecke sein, einfach 2 Kilometer weg vom üblichen Tourispot und wäre quasi verschwunden. Ich glaube aber nicht dran, deswegen Letizia oder das nähere Umfeld um Letizia klammer ich für meine Prognose, wo denn der Drehort ist, eher aus.
Ich hätte aber schon gesagt, dass es trotzdem eine Möglichkeit ist, etwas näher an Letizia zu drehen, weil wenn es wirklich nur ein Spot wäre für alle Teilnehmer und man 2 Kilometer weg ist vom Hauptstrom, kriegt man dort definitiv überhaupt nichts mehr mit von Tourismus oder halt dem Bootsverkehr. Da dieser Dschungel dort aber so enorm dicht ist, würde man wahrscheinlich in einem Nebenarm 100 Meter weiter selbst da schon abgeschottet sein. Da wir aber, glaube ich, alle mittlerweile an eine Durchschlagung denken, sind diese Inseln dann wirklich nicht mehr allzu wahrscheinlich. Vor allem, was soll dort das Szenario sein? Von einem Ende zum anderen Ende ist dann doch eher unwahrscheinlich und im Norden bleibt wirklich fast nichts anderes mehr übrig, wenn man sagt, man dreht in Kolumbien.
Dann brauche ich natürlich noch eine Rettungskette und die ist bisher immer bei Seven vs. Wild dreistufig gewesen. Wir haben einerseits immer Erste Hilfe bei den Teilnehmern, direkt zur Vorortversorgung und haben dann auch immer in jeder Staffel ein Medical Team im Hintergrund gehabt, egal wie die Zusammenfassung war. Aber jede Staffel hatte das Medical Team und das war bisher immer am Basecamp untergebracht. Mit einer Ausnahme, 4. Staffel, da gab es noch die Besonderheit der Breast Creek Hütte, die noch mal näher dran war. Ganze, ich glaube 700 Meter waren es nur Entfernung vom Location der Teilnehmer. Hier halt ein Sonderfall, aber ihr versteht, worauf ich hinaus will. Zur Rettungskette gehört dann als nächste Stufe, das war jetzt die 2., als 3. Stufe natürlich auch noch ein Hospital, wo wirklich dann, wenn es wirklich akut ist, auch entsprechende medizinische Leistungen erbracht werden können. Und das limitiert uns wieder auf Letizia, denn ich habe recherchiert, das einzige wirkliche Krankenhaus, was man hier ansetzen kann, ist halt in Letizia selber. Das heißt quasi Letizia, das Hospital Letizia, Ende der Rettungskette. Und ja, das Ganze muss natürlich miteinander kombiniert werden, sowohl Basecamp als auch Rettungskette, muss ja alles im Rahmen der Produktionsfirma auch leistbar sein. Last but not least brauche ich natürlich noch eine entsprechende Wegeverbindung, die machbar ist. Es würde zum Beispiel nichts bringen, wenn das Hospital jetzt eine ganze Tagesreise entfernt wäre. Ja, das wäre einfach zu lang. Ihr wisst, glaube ich, worauf ich hinaus will. Das ist erstmal so die Grundanforderung an eine Produktion Seven vs. Wild.
Und mit den Worten von André, dass es diesmal die aufwendigste Rettungskette in der Geschichte von Seven vs. Wild war und wir wissen, dass die Staffel davor auch gute Rettungsketten hatte, somit glaube ich wirklich, dass sich diesmal ein Team bei der Durchschlagung selber mitbewegt und im Umkreis von 400 Metern bei den Teilnehmern mitläuft.
Wenn ich da irgendwo ganz tief einfach nur im Regenwald einen Spot habe, wo ich erstmal zu Fuß, ja, mangels Straßen, einen Tag lang reinlatschen muss und dann passiert was, ist das einfach für die Rettungskette zu weit, wenn ich wieder alleine einen Tag brauche, um die Leute da rauszuholen. Das heißt, ich setze die Produktion eher an Flüsse an und das deckt sich ja auch mit der Aussage, die Hervé Neukomm im Rahmen des Briefings gemacht hatte. Da hat er ja unter anderem diese Aussage getätigt, sinngemäß, da wird ein Fluss sein. Und das gesagt, habe ich mir da eine ganz besondere Ecke ausgeschaut und musste vorgestern Abend, heute ist Sonntag, Freitagabend, schmunzeln und fluchen gleichzeitig. Denn Nike hat da ein Video von seinem Live-Kanal veröffentlicht und ist in den letzten paar Minuten auf eine ganz besondere Ecke im Rahmen seiner Suche eingegangen. Und ich möchte euch hier auszugsweise ein paar Auszüge aus dieser Suche mal einblenden.
Also jetzt, selbst wenn die hier oben irgendwie ausgesetzt werden, die sehen ja auch Touriboote die ganze Zeit langfahren. Das hier drin sieht auch interessant aus, ne? Dieser Weg hier so rein. Und der ist ja auch gar nicht mal so. Das sind auch 50 Meter breiter, der ist auch schon dick, der hier. Den Fluss tagelang runter, ja, das könnte ich mir sogar vorstellen. Aber hier ist halt eine Siedlung halt, das ist die Sache. Das macht halt nicht so. Aber, oder setzt die halt dann weiter oben aus. Der setzt die halt hier oben aus. Aber der ist auch weit weg von Letizia. Guck mal hier. Der ist auch ordentlich. 60 Kilometer. Aber wenn die halt im Ernstfall bei der Rettungskette halt eh schon alles vor Ort haben, mit Medikamenten, mit Gegengift und sowas, alles, das ganze Zeug parat haben, da muss ich sogar sagen, ist das jetzt beziehungsweise der einzige Fluss, den ich mir so vorstellen könnte, der hier interessant aussieht. Gibt es hier oben noch was, Bilder? Hier oben ist auch noch eine kleine Hütte. Und da kannst du ja auch eine Rettungskette quasi positionieren, da oben. Boah, also ich sag euch ehrlich, das könnte schon vielleicht die Location sogar sein hier.
Tja, und wie gesagt, musste ich, nachdem ich das gesehen habe, einerseits schmunzeln, andererseits auch ein bisschen fluchen. Warum schmunzeln? Schmunzeln, weil ich, direkt gesagt, die Produktion genau in der gleichen Ecke vermute. Ich zeige euch auch gleich warum. Und ein bisschen schmunzeln musste, weil Nike, glaube ich, näher dran war an dem, was ich euch gleich präsentieren werde, ohne selber zu merken, dass er nah dran war. Fluchen natürlich deswegen, weil er mir im Endeffekt zuvorgekommen ist, ja, mit seiner Sucherei. Ich bin jetzt erst dazu gekommen, das Video zu produzieren und damit muss man auch ehrlich so sagen, ja, Ehre wem Ehre gebührt, ist Nike der Erste, der die Ecke mal ins Gespräch gebracht hat. auch wenn ihm gar nicht klar war, wie nah er, glaube ich, dran war.
Und nur vom Aussehen her mit den Gegebenheiten ist es auch der einzige Fluss, der hier in der Region von Kolumbien am meisten Sinn macht. Etwas weiter östlich ist auch nochmal so einer in der Art, aber von der Lage, Krümmung und Breite ist er definitiv schlechter. Und da man beim Amacayako hier oben schon eine perfekte Lodge hat und danach auch überhaupt nichts mehr kommt an Zivilisation, könnte man es definitiv hier am besten regeln, dass dort keiner mehr hochkommt für die nächsten 2 Wochen. Aber jetzt kommt von Andy vielleicht der mögliche Beweis, dass es tatsächlich auch genau da oben gedreht wird, denn er hat im Interview auf eine ganz bestimmte Stelle nochmal geachtet.
Dass über der Eingangstür ihrer Outdoor-Küche
These are the funniest videos on the internet.
Among Us! Among Us!
Hey man, take care, man. You wanna race? Nah. The cop's right there, man. Damn!
So I've really been working on So anyways, I've been...
I'm free. Okay, ready?
Oh, damn.
This guy wanted to see if he could chug sparkling water without burping.
Oh my gosh. What do I do?
Mom, why'd you have to take me to Supercuts? This haircut looks horrible.
I had a coupon. You look good, honey.
Let's go. Let's go. That's a pig! That's a pig!
Why are you drinking Pedialyte, bro?
I need it.
Use both your eyes.
Alright, what do you want?
Can I get a bunch of fries and a McFlurry?
Can I touch a bunch of guys who are furries?
Oh, chill.
Honey, you're gonna have a very long day at work. You should go to bed.
These girls found a squirrel on the side of the road that they thought could use some help.
Jaden has $1 bill, 1 quarter, and 2 pennies. How much money does he have? Jaden broke. Guys, my little sister's here with me, and she has crazy hair. So say hi, Alea. Say hi. Here. See? I'm gonna show you.
I know how to do a cartwheel. There we are. How many rocks? 1, 2, 3. Oh no! Athena. So 3, 2, 1. Shoot.
In my life, I swear. Nah. Hey, may Zeus himself strike me down if I'm lying. Hey, didn't strike me though.
Learn about in school.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King Jr. What'd he do?
He died for our sins.
No, that was...
They were trying really hard to get him to dance.
Yeah, it is. God, look how smart I am.
Oh, look at that. You found it.
I found it.
That means we can fix your car.
Yeah. Can you draw a circle?
British humor is really something else.
He's doing well. Oh, mate. What's your secret, mate?
Hey, Zan.
You should have asked.
What? This hatch chilies? Oh, is that what that is? Smell that? Whoa. Uh-oh. What in the tarnation?
Thank you.
She tried to pick up this firefighter.
So you guys need to leave the property for 24 hours, and if you don't right now, I'm gonna make it 6 months.
Would you kiss me though?
No. Okay, it's now 6 months.
No,
Leave the property.
I can't. Going shopping, yeah. What's up?
This guy really didn't think this through.
Off. What's this?
It's an art project.
Okay, I like it. Picasso. Yeah, that way.
Actually, wait a minute. You missed the bug. But I got you, homeboy. Hold on.
This live streamer got upset with what a viewer called him.
What do you mean bro's built like a 1x1 Lego piece? What even is a 1x1 Lego piece? Yep, you're banned.
That's right.
Ochandorena, va. Va, Ochandorena por el penal decisivo. Y juegue.
Why is this toy being so dramatic?
Oh, shoot, it's Hey. What the freak? Oh.
Blow it out.
There's this internet challenge where people try to stand on an egg.
Oh putain de merde! Oh putain!
Dr. Riz is real, and he's coming for your grandma.
You look like a mad scientist.
What I need, Doctor?
I can't give it to you here, baby.
Oh my God!
Let's see.
Someone ordered pizza from both Pizza Hut and Domino's, so there's only one way to settle something like this.
They want us to fight, bro. What they want us to do? We gotta do it, brother. All right. Let's go, homie. Let's go.
Oh yeah, I would picture.
Charlie, one piece. You don't want to knock them all out.
Yeah.
Park brake engage. Well, congratulations, big guy. Oh, way to go, bro.
Oh my God, that is a beautiful black queen. Oh, sorry, right here. Where'd you get this from, bro?
Hey, bro, I'm not even gonna lie, you know what I'm saying, bro? You left it in the corner over there, you know what I'm
for
saying?
real?
Yeah, but I got you, though.
These guys took a picture of a random security guard and put him on a t-shirt.
What do you think, right there?
It's gas. It's gas.
Appreciate everything that you do, so I wanted to gift this to you. You got it? And then I put my hero, #1. Live from Panama City Beach, Florida. We're here where a large hole has been uncovered. And as we're digging through here, we're trying to figure out what's going on here. I'm not sure if this is a sinkhole to China or what. I think I see something.
Is this the USA?
Can anyone translate what this baby said?
Do you have anything to say?
That's a cup of,
Oh, that's that cup of, That's that cup of,
That's a cup of,
I could swear that's that one cup.
A hearing was taking place during a virtual court session, and a lawyer forgot to turn off the cat filter.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings to take
We're
a look.
trying to, can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Yeah. Oh, my bad, bro.
So why did he pick the most awkward place possible to propose to her?
How can I help you?
¿Hablas español?
Un momento. Hola, ¿qué le puedo dar?
Can I get a large Dr. Pepper?
Oh my gosh! I made it! I made it! I made it! Oh my god! I made it! Oh my god!
He might be 6 years old, but he already has the business mindset.
I take pictures of people in this suit. They think I'm acting smart. They pay us money. I have a job.
Yo, I'm gonna go to jail. I'm going to jail now. I'm going to jail. Somebody call the cops. I'm going to jail now. Somebody call the cops. I'm going to jail now because of you.
The Uber driver said that the voice in his map app wasn't working properly.
That was slippery.
They asked these kids what they wanted to do after graduating from kindergarten.
I want to be pregnant.
No, the whole time.
Are you okay, honey?
Spicy ketchup and a water. And then that's it.
All right.
right, 2230 second window. Are y'all getting robbed? Are y'all getting robbed right now? Yeah.
He was trying to practice for an upcoming dodgeball game.
Oh man, this is not working. I mean, I always have a backup plan.
Oh my god, a dinosaur's been walking on my car. Just kidding, it's me.
She had no idea that the drive-thru speaker has a camera.
Do you guys have your mummy cookie?
Yeah, we do. Oh my god. Are you excited?
I missed it.
Oh, to the moon!
Step on it now.
Could you try and stay awake just for a little bit? You just slept for 3 hours. And you just...
He was so excited to show Grandma his new tattoo.
Kai Gregory Thomas Morrison, have you lost your mind?
Great, now none of us can watch TV. That's my TV! No, that's why I'm freaking stealing it. I'm calling the cops.
Sorry. I asked him how he's been.
For some reason, this happens every time he closes his back door.
Right, Lazy's got to jump. Lazy's got to jump off. Frank, jump! Be careful!
She was making fun of Grandma for not having any teeth.
You quit that. I am done with my shift.
This guy was trying to show off his car when the worst luck happened.
What the?
One of my subscribers has a pretty interesting professor.
If your name is Paul, you are named after this guy. And if you say, my dad's name was Paul, so actually I'll say, shut up, kid, you're missing the big picture. This is the Paul.
Cows go boo, sheep go baa, and you go.
They really hyped her up just for her to do this.
Some of you guys have been asking for like a house tour. You want to see where I live. This is the bedroom. It's pretty chill. I mean, it was hard getting the old bed up the stairs and everything, but it's not. Oh, geez.
Go.
They gave him his first piece of bacon to see what he would think.
Is there some bacon? Thank you, Mama.
What the? Hey, don't break her.
And have a happy and safe journey home.
And for our guests who parked in our Chippendale parking lot, please make sure you use the crosswalk. The crosswalk is your one and only access into the Chippendale parking lot. And the
This delivery driver saw this doormat and took it very seriously.
Oh, hey, how's
Got
it
a
going?
package?
No, I don't.
Oh.
No, I'll tell you about the short gospel of Jesus Christ.
We're actually eating dinner now.
Okay, sorry to bother you.
That's okay, thank you.
Yeah. First
Hey! Gotcha. Yeah, you did.
Hey, Lee. Are you okay?
Do you, like, have cup holders? Oh, okay, perfect.
I didn't know the filter was on.
I fed my animal for today.
Oh no!
They forgot to bring a flag, so they sang the national anthem to this guy's shirt.
Any last words? None.
Come on, let's go see him. Okay. Chucky, I love you so much.
Oh, that was so
Hi,
nice.
Chucky.
Oh, it's so nice. Oh.
Guys, look what I got at the arcade. It's just a bow and arrow. I'm gonna try to shoot it.
Popeye el marino. Enséñalo. Popeye el marino. So. ¡A la verga!
Okay. When this person turns on the car, the steering wheel starts to spin. These dads were making fun of their daughters that were having a photo shoot on the beach.
You almost done?
Yeah.
What's been your favorite part about this hike?
Going to the park.
Get him, Maverick! Get him! Get him, Maverick! 2 points for Quinn! Quinn!
Wait. You got attitude, bro. I don't like that weight. That's a little too. Do it again.
Wait.
Oh.
Route 24.
So this guy stopped to help this guy whose car got stuck in a ditch, but the thing is he doesn't speak any English.
Let's just disassemble the car piece by piece and then reassemble it on the road.
Simplemente desmontemos el coche pieza por pieza y luego lo
No mames.
She tried some sour ice cream for the very first time.
Well, the young ladies will just have to wear something they
Hallo.
Hallo.
Können Sie Englisch?
Yes.
Stabil. Ich bekomme bitte einmal ein Doppelpack-Menü.
I don't understand German.
My daddy has a gold tooth. Wow, gold tooth? My dad has a gold tooth. Look, my dad has diabetes.
She's a good egg making me my bed, isn't she?
This YouTuber got some fake weights to trick some people at the gym.
What? I just ate a good meal. I don't want to throw up. Okay, let me sit down. Okay.
This university was dealing with a little water problem.
It's like really, really sus. Oh no!
So, Papa, here comes the train.
Don't worry, Grandpa wasn't hurt. This poor little guy forgot how to do it.
Wow! Yay! Yay! You okay? Let Mommy go. 2, 3. Feet left.
Go ahead, Win.
Okay, now Winston goes and you wink.
Go ahead, Deke.
Oh, shit. Thank you for being so patient. You've been so patient.
Oh, the other one.
Okay, now. Be good.
Bosie, what do you think? Does that look like you?
This poor kid was scared of the Halloween costume her husband was wearing.
Hello.
Bye.
Oh, hey. Trick or treat. I'll get some from that. Please.
Lo celebramos en Playa Hermosa. Feliz 56 aniversario.
So I guess garbage trucks can be pretty violent.
Is it the outlet? Is it the outlet? Are we yelling at the outlet? What did you do?
What age should you give up on your dreams?
65.
Why?
Wait, no, actually, 80.
80?
Wait, no, actually, don't give up on your dreams at all.
So, what's your final answer?
75.
She somehow fell through the ceiling totally unharmed. That is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Later. Hello everyone, this is your Daily Dose of Internet. They bought some iced tea from Chick-fil-A a few weeks ago, but forgot about it, so it turned into this.
What's up, man? What do you want me to do?
Hold up.
Hey!
She pretended to die to see how he would react. This biker had his head down at the worst time. It was their first time showing their dog their new house that they just bought.
Oh, is it exciting?
Lisa.
This kid only has one arm, but is better at basketball than everyone watching this video. So, I guess Tesla coil dancing is a thing. This guy got a really bad leg cramp. This might be the best sport ever invented. He really tried to jump all the way to the window. This baby chicken was confused and thought it was a duck. This baby chicken was confused and thought it was a duck.
That water finna start cutting up in that grease. Yeah.
He had an allergic reaction that made his forehead really squishy.
Let's do it up here.
This cop pulled this guy over, but let him go when it suddenly started to hail.
Hey, today you are saved by the hail. You've been saved by the hail.
This NFL team was showing off their new helmet when this happened. There's a grocery store in Germany that has baskets that indicate that you are single and you want to be flirted with. This professional actress pretended that she was hurt to try and flirt with a paramedic that was on site.
I sprained my ankle. It hurts really bad. Stay with my friend.
Can you put weight on this leg here?
I think you putting your weight on the. Oh, ooh.
Okay, can I just tell you that I really just wanted to ask if you were single.
I'm not single.
Oh my.
Your ankle's not twisted?
No, I'm fine.
They somehow managed to get the entire railroad barrier inside their car.
Never. Never. How, folks? How, folks?
Hey, Mercedes.
How can I help?
Eject the passenger seat. Oh, you can't do that.
Okay, I will start the ejection seat.
No, don't do that.
10, 9,
No!
8.
No!
No, I'm just joking.
This might be the most random thing to ever happen at a match. This empty boat that had nobody on board got destroyed by this giant wave. This driver in China almost got buried by this landslide. I think these parents gave up on their child. This giant chain of ants invaded this wasp nest. I have never seen a cat get fooled so badly.
Where's it coming from?
Right there. It's right there. Oh! Oh my gosh! It's
the train. That is the cutest.
The party train.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Oh my God.
They were preparing for an interview, and she let out the worst laugh I think I've ever heard.
So my personal philosophy of rehabilitation.
They walked into their hotel room and found a giant roach on their bed.
Maybe that's roach.
So this is pretty crazy. This bus driver sent out an urgent message for other drivers to see.
Hey bro, check it out. I just bought some apples and one of them still has the leaf in it. Oh my God, it looks just like the way that you like in cartoons, man.
Imagine sitting in traffic and seeing a monkey go over your head like this. I just landed back home in Chicago, but the cool thing is that on the way over, we flew over Greenland. So I recorded this video footage of what a giant glacier looks like from a plane. That is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Later. Hello. Hello everyone, this is your Daily Dose of Internet. I found this guide that says there are certain areas in the Amazon River that are totally safe to drink from. I have no idea if this is true or not, so please don't try it for yourself.
People always ask me how we find water while we're on expeditions in the Amazon rainforest. And it's actually simpler than you think, because the river's going by. The trick is you move the cup with the river and got yourself a drink.
Aí, mano, tu quer batata? Não gosto de batata, mano. Demorou, mano. Olha, aviãozinho. Ô, filha da p***! Let's go! Let's go! We made it! We made it! We made it! No! No!
One time when you no, this way. So on the outside. Does that sound good? Oh!
You're gonna cry.
Guys, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I mean, seriously, it's... oh, wait. Hang on. It might actually be... No!
They taught their pet dog how to do a trick. The scuba diver found the seal making weird noises underwater. Everyone knows about synchronized swimming, but what about synchronized horsing around?
Oh, close.
This guy just got arrested on a plane and decided to be even dumber.
Moment, I think it's just like how I was raised and like things I've been through. It's like very ingrained, you know? It's hard to like break out of that. Like instinctively, I was like,
Mamma mia!
I had no idea hedgehogs could be so grumpy. They decided to open up this orange juice that expired a long time ago.
And here we go. It was an accident. Just give him a kiss and tell him you're sorry, John. Huh? Oh? I hope you recorded that the way his mouth.
They were trying to drive through this crazy thunderstorm.
Something's gonna happen. Hi! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Hi guys!
This camera somehow recorded the inside of his cat's eye. Look at how proud he was to give her the garbage.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're so sweet.
You gonna pick a pumpkin out, Layla? You wanna pick a pumpkin? Okay, go ahead and pick one. Which one's your favorite? That one?
She just got off the plane and he decided to embarrass her.
It's not true. That's not true. Oh my gosh, Paul, thank you. Put it down. Put it down. That's not true.
This giant cloud rolled in and ruined their beach day. He had one shot to make it over this road before it collapsed.
É, agora fudeu do barranco mesmo.
Poor camera guy picked the worst spot to take a picture. This snail was trying to climb up the sink water. This polar bear was seen playing around with his dog. His washing machine always plays a song when it finishes. It can get pretty windy in Ireland sometimes. He wanted to see if he could climb around the entire table. He was telling him when it would be safe to jump.
Погоди, погоди, погоди. О, можно, можно, можно. Давай, 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 давай.
So who taught him how to do this?
Hey, buddy. Hey.
So I just left Norway, but before I did, I went on a hike that was so high up in the mountains that we were in the clouds. That is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Later.